Throughout generations, a power was passed down from user to user. This power was the sole light in the darkness for the world, a power that someone who was worthy of would protect others without a care for themselves. The last user of this power was Izuku Midoriya, and it was said that he would be the last user of it. When he grew old, he decided to not pass down this power because it would harm the person more than actually help them. When he took his last breath, this power seemingly left his body, spiraling around and going through a portal. The power then flies through space and time, ending up entering a new universe, one that needed it far more than its original. The new wielder of the power, called One for All, now resided in a young boy by the name of Tanjiro Kamado. "Oh, our baby is so cute." "Yes, honey, he sure is." As the dad of Tanjiro says this, he coughs into his shirt. An orb of light falls slowly from the sky and dissolves into the baby's body. The parents look at the baby in basically shock. "Honey, you know you don't have to go to the city in this weather." "I know, Mom, but I want to give the family a good New Year's." His siblings then beg him to basically let him come with him, but since basically there's just too much snow, he says that they can't, but he will bring them back some goodies. He then says bye to Nezuko and the rest of his family and heads to the nearby town. When he arrives, he sells all his charcoal, but being so loved by the town, they all ask for further assistance. When finished, Tanjiro begins to basically head up the mountain, but an older man tells him that going at this time of night is not safe, and that he should stay with him at least until morning. Tanjiro agrees, but asks why is the nighttime a dangerous time to travel, and the man basically explains that there are demons that lurk around the area that will eat humans. Tanjiro agrees, but is still skeptical of this statement. The night passes, and in the morning, Tanjiro thanks the old man and he heads up the mountain. When he gets close to his home, he begins to smell blood and begins to run at full speed to see all his family dead. He runs to his little sister Nezuko to see that she is still alive, but barely. He picks her up and begins to run to find help, but falls off the mountain, landing in the snow, luckily breaking his fall. His little sister Nezuko, though, began to attack him. "Nezuko, what are you doing?" As she attacks him, he puts his axe handle between her teeth to keep her away. Out of nowhere, a man with insane speeds tries to slice her head off with a sword, but it misses because Tanjiro rolls Nezuko over to dodge it. "Please, what are you doing? That is my sister." "Kid, what are you on about? She is no longer your sister. She's a demon." In a blink of an eye, the man grabs the girl. "If you want to protect her, kid, then take her back from me." As the man says this, he puts his blade to her neck. "If you want to save her, you will stop begging, and this world is not forgiving." Tanjiro stands up and begins to run straight at the man. The man begins to think that his kid isn't ready for this world, but lightning seemingly revolves around him, and he basically has this green lightning, and the speed makes it hard to be seen as he moves side to side. He then takes a punch at the man, who barely dodges, basically holding his sister. The man barely dodges Tanjiro and basically just behind him sends a blast so strong that it basically just destroys and sends flying all the trees back behind him. He knocks Tanjiro out, and as he does so, Nezuko kicks him away, getting in a pose seemingly to protect her brother. Tanjiro wakes up to see his sister beside him, and the man reveals who he is. "My name is Giyu Tomioka, and I am part of what people call the Demon Slayers. And if you want to save your sister, then you will become one as well. Go to the mountains, and my old master will be waiting for you. Also, I put your arm in a sling, because whatever you did, broke it." Tanjiro looked at Tomioka in shock, telling him that he has no idea what he's talking about. Tomioka responds saying that he doesn't know either, but the power he wields is far beyond the normal human's power. Tomioka then leaves, and Tanjiro takes Nezuko to a nearby house to get a basket for her to hide her from the sunlight, as requested of Tomioka. He then heads up the mountain at night and begins to fall. As night begins to fall, and he comes across a demon eating people. Then the temple demon then speaks. "Get out of here, kid. These are my humans to eat." Tanjiro stands in shock, and the demon turns, realizing that Tanjiro is no demon, but a human. He charges at him, knocking him away. Nezuko then jumps out of her basket and kicks the demon off of Tanjiro, and then the demon attempts to attack Nezuko. "Stay away from my sister, you stupid demon!" Tanjiro then hits the demon and launches him, but somehow he doesn't break his arm this time. The demon is then gone, out of sight from the hit alone. "Kid, did you just do that?" Tanjiro turns to see Urokodaki, saying, "I guess I did do that." As he says this, he passes out and is carried to Urokodaki's home. Tanjiro Kamado. So you are the 10th user of One for All. I swore that green-haired boy would be the last. Tanjiro tries to talk to the man with the white hair, but his mouth was covered in a weird mist. "Sorry, kid, but you can't talk here. But I want to explain to you this power you've been experiencing." The man with the white hair explains that Tanjiro has a power called One for All, and it's not from this world, but it gives him insane strength and speed. But if Tanjiro is not careful, his limbs will be destroyed, and that this power was dormant until now. Tanjiro tries to basically get him to explain more, but the first user tells him that there isn't much time right now, but he will be back soon, and many others will want to speak with him as well. Tanjiro wakes up in shock, and his body is covered in green lightning, and he's sweating like crazy. "Are you okay, kid?" "Yeah, I think so." Urokodaki explains to him the situation, and that he will be training him to become a demon slayer. Tanjiro agrees and tells him about this power that he has called One for All. Urokodaki then tells him that over this time they will find a way for him to control this power on top of the training he will be put through to use a technique called water breathing. Tanjiro then trains with Urokodaki, initially running through a mountain with booby traps that allows for him to basically use his increased sense of smell to increase his reaction time and awareness. On top of that, Urokodaki taught Tanjiro the way of water breathing, learning all 10 forms, and Urokodaki also taught him how to control One for All, a little bit like basically relating it to the 10th form, in which you strike with a constant flux, giving them the idea of having Tanjiro try and focus his power throughout his whole body, but with restrictors on himself, allowing him to use a percentage of the power currently being at 8%. "Tanjiro, you have come a long way, but I have one last challenge for you, before you can truly go and become a demon slayer." He takes Tanjiro to the top of the mountain, showing him this large boulder, telling him that he must slice the boulder in half if he wants to go to the final selection. He then charges 8% of One for All within his body, and when he does so, he slices through the boulder with extreme precision, cutting it in half, and the shockwave alone shatters it. "Well, Tanjiro, you did as I asked, and I know you are ready for the final selection, but I still feel like getting used to this extraordinary power you have should be of great interest to you." "I agree. I will take the next 6 months in an effort to truly understand this power." Urokodaki agrees, and Tanjiro trains on his lonesome by himself until a girl and a boy show up. They introduce themselves as Makomo and Sabito, fellow demon slayers that want to help him train. For the next 6 months, he's trained with Sabito, allowing for his swordsmanship to be even better than before, and also increasing his output of One for All to 15%. He also found that when he combines One for All with his water breathing, it allows for him to increase his speed and strength by so much more. So for 1 month, he tries to maintain both the breathing and One for All for long periods of time at the same time. Not being able to use it constantly, but can maintain his breathing and now One for All for up to 8 hours a day if he uses it, well, constantly. He thanks Sabito and Makomo for the help, and the last day before leaving the final selection, Urokodaki made him delicious food, as well as he writes in his notebook about Nezuko and that he will find a cure to her becoming human once again. The next morning, Tanjiro sets off and thanks Urokodaki and tells him to say thank you again to both Makomo and Sabito, in which his eyes grow wide and he begins to shed a tear, thinking that even in the afterlife, they both are helping the demon slayers of the future. Tanjiro then arrives in an area with beautiful blossom trees, and two girls approach and begin to speak, explaining that in the final selection, they will need to survive a week within this demon-filled forest, and if they manage to do so, they will be allowed to join the Demon Slayer Corps. All the future Demon Slayers then enter the forest, and Tanjiro begins to fight demons that try and ambush him, which using only 5% of One For All to conserve his stamina. He then dodges with ease. He pins one down to the ground and begins to question it. Look, all I want to know is if I can turn a demon back into a human. The demon gave no response and continued to try and attack him like a wild animal that hasn't eaten in days. He kills the demon and realizes that all these demons will not know or won't even say a word about knowing how to change one back into a human. He heads through the forest and begins to hear loud footsteps followed by screaming. He then runs towards it to see the hand demon chasing a kid. Please help! I need help! Tanjiro quickly grabs the kid, getting him out of harm's way, using One For All and staring at the demon. That mask! You're the one of Urokodaki's brats! Now that is interesting. The fact that you think you can beat me when that kid with the scar couldn't even do so. Tanjiro then looks at the hand demon in shock, thinking that those two weren't even alive, and this demon did it. Tanjiro charges One For All up to 15% and begins dodging all the attacks from the hand demon until from his blind side he's about to be hit, but then he begins to feel a mild headache in the left side of his head, and then he dodges without even being able to see the punch coming. Tanjiro then using water breathing, second form, water wheel, he slices the demon's head off. The demon then begins to cry and Tanjiro looks into its eyes. You've done horrible things, but I will never wish the worst for you. So I hope God forgives you for your sins. May the afterlife treat you well. The demon then disappears, and Tanjiro for the next week goes around trying to help people. But when he arrives at the end of the final selection, he notices that very few people still remain. The two little girls approach and begin to congratulate them until a boy walks up to one of them, grabbing one in the head. Just give me my sword and we'll be done with this. Tanjiro walks over telling the boy to let go of her, and when he refuses, Tanjiro breaks the kid's arm, and he lets go, staring at Tanjiro, but then walks away. The two proctors then explain what is going to happen, and they reveal the ores for their swords. Tanjiro, using his sense of smell, quickly picks his ore and then races down the mountain. When he arrives down the mountain, the sun is now mostly set, and he sees something that makes him tear up. His sister Nezuko, now awake. He runs to her, hugging her. Nezuko, you're awake. I thought you were never gonna wake up. I'm so happy. Urokodaki then comes toward them, joining in a hug and inviting Tanjiro back into his home. He tells Tanjiro that today he needs to rest, but tomorrow he should get his brand new Nichirin sword. Tanjiro then sleeps and he enters his mindscape. A man walks up to Tanjiro with a scar on his face. Sup, kid? I'm here because you gained my power not too long ago. It's called Danger Sense. You're smart, I'm sure you can figure out how it works, but just be ready for many other quirks to come, young Tanjiro, and use this power to protect the ones you love. Tanjiro wakes up in a gasp, and Urokodaki asks if he's okay. Tanjiro explains the vision he had, and Urokodaki stands in shock that Tanjiro will have even more powers than just his speed and strength enhancement. Tanjiro, I must also tell you something as well. Tanjiro continues to listen, and Urokodaki explains to him that the demon that made his sister into a demon is known as Muzan Kibusuji, and that he is the strongest among them all, and that many other demons with powers called demon arts are out there. So be ready for anything. But if anyone would know how to cure his sister, that it would be Muzan himself. The weaponsmith then arrives with Tanjiro's sword, and when he touches it, the sword turns black, with green electricity revolving around it. The weaponsmith is in shock that the sword is black, but mostly that the green lightning is revolving around it. It is explained that the black sword means bad fortune, but that the lightning, he has no clue. Tanjiro then gets a box from Urokodaki and brings Nezuko along with him. He says goodbye, and crows begin to tell him to head to the nearby town, because girls are actually going missing within it. He arrives and he sees a man yelling at someone. "You idiot! You had one job, keep my daughter safe, and you couldn't even do that? I'm sorry, I really tried to protect her." Tanjiro then dashes in and gets the man to stop beating on the other while laying on the ground. Tanjiro then begins talking to the man. "What's your name?" "It's Kazumi." "Okay, I need you to tell me all that happened when your wife disappeared." "Well, we were walking around in the town at night, and then out of nowhere I look to my side and she's gone." "Okay, sir. Thank you." Tanjiro then begins a search all around the town, trying to catch a whiff of the demon. Nighttime then strikes, and he gets a faint whiff of it, and basically it goes away, leaving just a small remnant of what the demon smell was. Tanjiro then smells the demon once again, as the demon comes out of a portal underneath the ground. "What are you doing here, little demon slayer? Here to die?" "No, but I have some questions. I need to know if you can change a demon back into a human." "Well, why would I tell you that? I get nothing out of it." "Okay, well, how about this? Where is Muzan?" The demon freezes for a second, and Tanjiro can tell that he will not be saying a word. Using 15% of One for All and total concentration breathing, he dashes in and slices his head off. The demon then looks at him in shock that he could be so fast, and he wasn't even one of the stronger demon slayers, he's just some novice. "I'm sorry, but you refuse to tell me anything, and I can't allow you to kill or continue to kill anyone else, but I hope that the afterlife treats you with forgiveness." Tanjiro approaches Kazumi, telling him that he is sorry that he couldn't save his wife, but that he must live his life to what she would have wanted him to. He thanks him, and then Tanjiro leaves. His crow begins saying that a demon has been spotted in a city nearby, so Tanjiro heads over to the location. When he arrives, he begins to eat some food until he begins to smell something so foul he could not ignore. That smell, it's him. Tanjiro begins to run at full speed until he arrives at a man. Tanjiro grabs his shoulder, and when he turns around, he has a family, one kid and a wife. "Kid, what do you need?" Tanjiro stands in shock at what Muzan looks like, and not only that he is blending in with a human family. Muzan begins to walk away, and Tanjiro calls out to him. "Muzan, I will kill you for what you did to my sister and my family. And I know it's you. And wherever you go, you can't hide from me." Muzan continues to walk, but his face begins to scowl at the audacity of this kid. But he can sense that he has powers of 9 other people somehow within him, but he's not like he's some demon. Tanjiro then heads back to Nezuko, apologizing for leaving her alone, until a young boy approaches him. "Hello, you're Tanjiro, correct? You need to come with me." Tanjiro then smells the boy that approached him, smelling that he's a demon himself. Tanjiro stares in confusion. "But you're a demon." "I'm not here to hurt you. Please, just follow me." Tanjiro does so, and they enter through a wall and enter a house with a beautiful lady by the name of Tamaya. She explains that she is a demon who does not feast on humans to survive, and that she lives on small amounts of blood that is donated. Tanjiro then asks her a question. Do you think there is a way to change back my sister back into a human? She responds, telling him that there is no current way she knows, but that is possible. She just needs blood from the strongest demons to make it possible, known as the 12 Kizuki. She tells him that if he can do that, she should be able to find a cure. He's about to respond when a ball comes flying through the house, about to hit Lady Tamiya right in the face. Before this, though, his danger sense began to go off, and he was able to punch the ball, shattering it with 15% of One For All. He then walks outside to see the demon. Danger sense, though, tells him basically that there are two demons, one in front of him and one in a nearby tree. He then acts like he's dashing at the female demon in front of him, but redirects himself to the one hiding in the tree, kicking him out of it, and in an instant cutting his head off. How? What? How did you kill him so fast? The female demon begins to panic, pleading for her life. That is horrible. You came here to take my life, and now you're pleading for your own? Fine. If you take me to Muzan, I will spare your life. The demon is in complete shock and responds. She is completely shaking, and his name accidentally slips out of her mouth. You want Muzan? Her body then begins to explode into pieces, and she dies without Tanjiro even touching her. Is this truly the power of Muzan? Tanjiro says this with a tight grip on his sword. Tanjiro is then given a vial by Lady Tamiya, and Tanjiro heads off, hearing from his crow that there is a mansion filled with demons nearby. He begins walking and hears a young man begging a girl to become his wife. Please, be my wife. I'm gonna die soon. No, leave me alone. I don't want to be your wife. The girl punches him and the kid continues to beg. Tanjiro walks over to him and he grabs the kid by the shirt. What? Where are you taking me? I'm taking you on a mission with me. What? No, I don't want to die. You won't. What's your name? The kid with the yellow hair responds that his name is Zenitsu, and Tanjiro tells him his name as well. They both then arrive at a nearby mansion and see two little kids in the forest shaking in fear. They approach them and ask the two children what is wrong. The demon took our brother in there. Please help us. Zenitsu looks at Tanjiro and begins crying, begging him to not go in there and that it must be dangerous. Tanjiro brings the kids and Zenitsu in the mansion and begin to look through the mansion for their lost brother, until somehow the area flips and they get separated. Tanjiro continues with the little girl until they come across a room, and on the outside a demon is talking to himself. Yeah, I know, but where could he even be? Tanjiro looks over and begins to talk. Demon, who are you talking to? The demon just continues to talk to himself. Tanjiro tells the girl to back up and make sure to stay at a safe distance, and he charges at the demon, but his danger sense begins to flare. The demon hits his drum and the room begins to flip. Using One For All at 15%, Tanjiro is able to bounce off the walls in the moving room, closing the distance. Using danger sense, he's able to actually predict when the room is going to flip and as easily closes the distance. Water breathing, first form, water surface slash. The demon with drums on his body then gets his head cut clean off. How did you move so quickly? So much power. Wait, you're the kid that Muzan spoke of. The kid that has a power beyond any breathing. Tanjiro looks at the demon as something comes blasting through the roof. A kid with a boar mask enters the building screaming where that demon went. I defeated the demon you're looking for. He's right here. What? You already beat him. So this can't be
This can't be. I will find more demons to beat.
The kid with the boar mask runs away, looking for more demons to fight. Tanjiro then finds the brother of the two kids and begins to take them outside. When they see that same kid with the boar mask kicking Zenitsu, screaming that he wants to fight the demon in the box, Zenitsu hugs onto the box, telling him that Tanjiro was protecting this, so it must mean a lot. Tanjiro dashes at insane speeds and throws the boar kid at the tree. Stop hitting Zenitsu and tell me what you want.
I want to fight that demon.
Inosuke charges at Tanjiro, but Tanjiro reaches out and whips extend from him and ties the boar kid up. Tanjiro begins to think what he just did, but a voice within his head tells him that he was just granted another power from one of the past One for All users.
Whoa, this is so cool. How did you do this? Teach me.
I will tell you how to do it if you join us on our missions and stop trying to kill that demon.
Fine, I will stop.
Now, what is your name?
Name, huh? My name is Inosuke.
Oh, I'm Tanjiro. Nice to meet you. He lets Inosuke go out of the whips, and his arm begins to hurt a bit.
Nice to meet you, Tanjiro.
My name is... Never mind. They then leave, and Tanjiro's crow begins to tell them to go rest at a nearby place. They do so, and Zenitsu meets Nezuko, and basically chases them around until they head to bed. The next day, their crow begins to inform them about the demons in the nearby forest, and that demon slayers go in, but never come out. They head off, and they're about to arrive, and Zenitsu begins to cry and freak out and say that they're all going to be killed. They end up leaving him behind, saying that he feel free to join them when he is ready. They enter to find another demon slayer, and he begins to explain that others are being controlled by some weird strings. They enter the further into the forest to see these demon slayers, and they basically are subdued by these strings. They end up actually subduing the demon slayers, though, by throwing them up onto trees, basically stringing them up, eventually heading in the direction of the main demon. Out of the forest then came a headless demon puppet that began trying to kill Tanjiro and Inosuke. Tanjiro then distracts the demon, getting in a perfect position where Inosuke could leap from a tree, slicing into the vital points to kill it. With the help of Tanjiro as well, using 1 for all out of 15%, they both slice the demon, killing it. Tanjiro jumps on a nearby tree, seeing the main demon, a female demon that seemingly begins to accept her death as if she was happy to die. Tanjiro realizes this and begins to get sad, and decides to send the demon on a peaceful death. Water breathing, 5th form, blessed rain after drought. He slices her head off, but the demon feels no pain and begins to cry, tears of joy, now that she can finally move on to the next world. I'm sorry for whatever you had to go through to want death in such a way. Inosuke and Tanjiro continue throughout the forest until a giant demon comes out of the trees, blindsiding Tanjiro, and he goes flying off the mountain. Inosuke! Survive! Tanjiro crashes into a tree and falls on the ground, and can hear someone talking in front of him. You truly want to be my sister, you need to make yourself useful. Because right now, you're nothing. Now go do as I say and kill those demon slayers. She cries and runs off. Why would you talk to your sister like that? What do you mean, dumb human? Questioning my motives. Tanjiro takes out a sword with an insanely tight grip. I can tell you're different than the others. My name is Rui, one of the 12 Kizuki. Now die for disturbing my family. Strings began flying around Tanjiro. He tries to cut through them using 5% of 1 for all, realizing that he barely can. He cranks it up to 15%, allowing him to close the distance toward Rui. Oh, little demon slayer, this isn't even my max output. Blood begins to drip from Rui's strings, and they are all about to hit Tanjiro, but Nezuko jumps in the way, basically blocking him. Is this your sister? A demon? And she protects you like that? Rui pulls Nezuko into the trees.
Give her back to me, you stupid demon!
Tanjiro charges at him, activating 20% of One For All without noticing.
I will kill you!
His sword lights ablaze and his speed increases by a ton. Smoke begins to be outputted from his body and covers the area.
Where are you, you dumb demon slayer?
Tanjiro ends up behind Rui, slicing his head off so fast that in one blazing swing, the light can be seen all throughout the forest. Tanjiro catches Nezuko as she falls to the ground. Nezuko, please rest up. What? Danger sense. He looks to see a female demon slayer about to swing at Nezuko, and in an instant he grabs her with Black Whip.
What are you doing? She's my sister. Why are you trying to kill her?
She's a demon, dear demon slayer. No, please let me go and let me do my job. Tomioka approaches from behind, telling Shinobu that this kid is basically what everyone has been talking about. She looks at them in shock, and crows begin to request them to go to the Hashira mansion with Tanjiro and the demon Nezuko. Tanjiro puts her in her box, and they begin to head off to the mansion. When they arrive, the helpers try to tie up Tanjiro, but he refuses, telling them that there's no reason for that. Plus, rope can't even hold him if they wanted it to. They decide to listen, and Tanjiro is questioned by the Hashira while he is carrying around a demon. The Wind Hashira even stabs into the box where Nezuko is, and as the master of the mansion arrives, they all bow. He explains that Nezuko has never hurt a demon or eaten one, and that Tanjiro, Urokodaki, and Tomioka have accepted the terms of suicide if she does so in the future. The Wind Hashira then takes the box to the master and cuts himself. Nezuko then refuses to drink his blood, and the master says that proves it even more that Nezuko is now a demon slayer. Tanjiro and Inosuke are then sent to the infirmary, but Tanjiro wasn't hurt, nowhere near as bad as the others. So his rehab and training start a lot sooner. One night he's working on controlling his breathing constantly, and he's approached by Shinobu. She asked him if it was true that he had the mysterious power that legend says comes from another universe. He explains that his mother once said that it was like a ball of light that entered my body, but I never knew that the power would be this. She tells him that she wants him to find a way to befriend demons, that she can't do it anymore. That he looks at her in shock, and she explains that she isn't dying by any means, but after seeing him and Nezuko, that her sister's wishes would be best fit within him. He smiles, saying that he will do his best, and he continues training. After he's mastered total concentration constant, he finds that he can now use 30% to 35% of One For All. He then took the time to help train Inosuke and Zenitsu and what he has learned, and then they were basically given the task to meet Rengoku at the train. Tanjiro, the day before they left, asked Shinobu about this fire breathing that he experienced, but she told him that she has no clue, but he should ask Rengoku. They arrive at the train, and Inosuke wants to fight it, and Tanjiro thinks that it's some mythical creature, but they enter and begin searching for Rengoku. They come across a cart, and they hear him.
Delicious! Delicious! Delicious!
They approach him, saying that they are fellow demon slayers, and he accepts them as pupils without them even asking. Tanjiro asks about this firepower that he experienced, and also asks if he knows anything about One For All. Rengoku then tells him he knows about flame breathing, but not fire breathing, and also he doesn't know much about One For All, except that it's a power that supposedly comes from another world. The lights begin to flicker like crazy in the train, and demons appear, but as soon as they do, Rengoku springs into action, swiftly eliminating them. Whoa! That was amazing, Rengoku! All three of them begin to ask to be trained by him, in which he agrees, and they all sit down. A helper on the train walks into their cart, and Tanjiro's danger sense begins to flare like crazy. Wait, there are two things? This guy and a person toward the front of the train. Please, let me stamp your ticket. Tanjiro appears behind the guy and chops his neck, knocking him out. They all ask what is he doing, and he explains that danger sense, and basically letting him stamp the ticket meant something bad for all of us. Now, Inosuke, follow me. Rengoku, Zenitsu, stay here because if my suspicion is correct, then you need to protect the people that are on this train. They both exit out the window and see a demon standing in the front of the train. Why don't you all just sleep? I could have given you such an amazing dream. Tanjiro notices that Danger Sense is practically screaming at the demon's hands, so he knows to make sure to look away from them at all costs. Now, I will just send you to sleep myself. They charge at the demon, and Tanjiro avoids the demon's hands that will basically put him to sleep. And without even using One For All, he cuts the demon's head off. You really thought that it was over? Well, I am this entire train. Both of them basically realize that the real neck they need to cut must be at the front of the train. They go there and the conductor is waiting and tries to stab Tanjiro, but he knocks him out before he can actually get the chance. These tentacles emerge trying to stop the both of them, but Inosuke steps in, slicing them up.
Tanjiro, you destroy the neck.
Tanjiro nods and activates One For All at 30%.
One for all, Kagura's dance!
In a blaze of fire and electricity, Tanjiro slices down into the train and slices the demon's neck. The demon crawls out of the train and it seemingly disintegrates. The train is then stopped and everyone exits. Rengoku begins to talk. Good job, all of you. I'm very impressed. Further away, someone speaks. Could have been better. Upper 3 demon, Akaza. Rengoku tells them all to back up and that this demon isn't something they can handle. Their fight begins and Rengoku is somewhat keeping up, but the group realizes that Rengoku is losing this fight. Come on, Rengoku, become a demon and we can fight forever. Rengoku then gets stabbed in the stomach slightly. Just say the word and you can become just like me. My wounds heal immediately and you'll never die. Rengoku backs up. I will never become a demon. As long as my heart beats, I will fight and I will win. When you feel you can't win, set your heart ablaze and still fight on. Rengoku charges in and slices into Akaza, trying to decapitate him. Tanjiro charges in, realizing that Akaza is about to kill Rengoku. He slices at Akaza, cutting part of his face and then getting kicked away. I will not let Rengoku do this alone. If that means destroying my body, so be it. One for all, 100%. Tanjiro charges in an instant. Not even Akaza could see him. He slices Akaza in half, barely missing his head. Akaza tries to think that this kid must have the power that Muzan spoke of. But how? How is he this strong? I will kill you where you stand, you stupid demon. Akaza realizes the situation he's in and tries to make his escape. Tanjiro stops mid-chase and screams in pain. Oh, my body. It hurts so bad. Akaza turns, thinking that he could kill the kid, but the sun is about to be up. He leaves thinking that if the kid masters that power, every demon, including Muzan himself, will be in trouble. Tanjiro, are you okay? Yeah, I'm fine, but my whole body may be broken. He passes out, and the three of them look at Tanjiro in shock of what he just did. And that is the end of this What If. Yes, I know the Demon Slayer Season 2 should be coming out in hopefully this October. And I do normally, so I think I've done it maybe once or twice. I can't remember. I think for sure once I've done a manga edition of a Demon Slayer What If. If this gets enough support, I will definitely do that. But currently at this moment, I do not plan on making a manga edition for What If Tanjiro had One For All. But if y'all want it that badly, I can do that. But of course, in the future, whatever I make, whatever What Ifs I make for Demon Slayer, I could end up making a manga edition. But yeah, I mean, with Season 2 approaching very, very, very soon, hopefully we won't even have to worry about that, won't have to sweat about that, and we can be going into Season 2 pretty soon. But yeah, that's about it. I hope all of y'all enjoyed. Make sure to leave a like and subscribe, and make sure to comment down below any other suggestions for what ifs you would like to see, and make sure to check the description below for my other socials. And yeah, that's about it. Everyone have an amazing day. Later.